On the line with me, we have a very huge guest. Z98 presents the Rockstar Energy Uproar Festival happening tomorrow at the Tyson Event Center. We got Shannon Larkin, the drummer for Godsmack, hanging out on the rock line this morning. How you doing, Shannon?
Doing great, man.
Good to talk to you. How's the tour going so far?
It's been fantastic, man. Crowds have been killer. Been great attitudes for all the bands to all get along backstage, and great food. It's been great weather. We've been real lucky. So hopefully tomorrow will be a nice sunny day for a festival.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, you guys got a huge lineup. You guys also bringing along Seether, Pop Evil, Buck Cherry, tons of other bands on this bill as well. Have you toured with any of these bands before?
Well, we know Seether. We haven't toured with them, but we've played many a festival. That's the beautiful thing about festivals. You can sometimes they're just a one-off. Get to go in and play with a bunch of different bands and get to meet them backstage. And Seether are amazing. And we've known Buck Cherry for many, many years and played those with them as well. My God, all the bands are so cool so far. And it's just, these festivals they're amazing, not only for the bands, also for the fans. I mean, like I always tell people, I wish when I was growing up that I could pay $35 or whatever the price is and then see 15 killer bands. These are just great shows.
Yeah, that's the cool thing I like about rock, because, I mean, when you get to other genres of music, it's usually just one person, maybe two people, or, with rap shows, stuff like that, you get like 10, 15 guys. When it comes to a rock show, you get 15, like you said, about 10 to 15 solid bands for like $30. I mean, and all these other genres of music, they're charging $90 to, $150 for these festivals.
Yeah, it's true, man. In country, which is the biggest music, in the U.S. At this point, anyway, same thing. You go to see, Luke Bryan or whatever, who are a killer, but the tickets are so expensive, and it's just a couple bands. It's like people say, rock is dead. Well, rock is not, and rock will never die. It's because of it for our fans, straight up,
Well, I think a lot of it is because the rockers yourself, you guys pay such special attention to fans where other people are just so consumed with their celebrity. Rock bands really, really get it. That's the thing, is they really love their fans, and they really show that they love their fans when they get a chance to meet them.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is due to, like, most rock bands start out just like we did in the clubs, playing to nobody, and then, you have to really work. It could take years before you get a real deal. Where, involve the hip-hop, country artists, and pop artists particularly, they'll get a deal off a song, having never even played a show before, and then they go out, and boom, it's into 10,000 seaters or whatever for their first tour. So they kind of, I guess, knew what the rock bands have gained from working your way up with the power to the top.
Yeah, definitely. I think with the pop bands, too, and as opposed to rock, rock has such a longevity with it. If you can write a number of hits, you can be around forever. Pop bands, they don't last too long, so they got to capitalize while they can.
And sync.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, you're right. And longevity is something that is the main thing that you strive for in a rock band. And even if you're lucky enough, we formed this club. There's a few of my buddies and I that have been in bands, like Aaron from Stain, for instance. And we call it the Less Than 1% Club, because less than 1% of bands, rock bands, even get signed. And the ones that get signed, less than 1% of them even go on to have a gold record or a platinum record. And less than 1% of us even have a more than 2-year career when we get a major label deal. So it's a very, it's the one thing that I think we all strive for, is just to be able to do this for a living. And believe me, the guys, the ones that are in this club and that have gotten it, we're the most grateful, gracious rock dudes you'll ever meet, because we understand how lucky we are to be here.
Definitely, and it shows too. It's such a huge success with Godsmack over the years. I mean, constantly putting out hits, every single album, back to back. It's like the old thing, I'm going to go out and support and buy the Godsmack album because, front to back, it's going to be solid. Do you ever feel the pressure? I don't know how involved you are in writing the songs, but of course you play a huge key in it with the drumming and everything. Do you guys feel that pressure to write a hit, or do you guys just got to take that mentality, go in, whatever comes out, sort of situation?
Well, the only pressure we feel, partly selfish, because we're musicians at heart and we're players. And so we don't want to just keep making the same record over and over again. Then it gets boring to us. So we try and do different things, in between each record. For instance, the first record I did, Faceless, it was a more metal, militant record, as opposed to the next one, 4, which was a bit more bluesy. We got, a different producer in, the late great Andy Johns, who'd worked with Zeppelin and Hendrix and The Who and stuff, to try and get a more classic, bluesy sounding heavy metal. The acoustic EP, which is a complete departure, and then onto the Oracle, we got Portman to help produce, which done Slipknot and Mudvayne. We wanted to make a heavy balls record. So we do have a theme, but as far as pressure goes, there's no pressure anymore. We've afforded that through success, luckily, that we don't have the label pressure and the management pressure and people breathing down our necks to make a certain record, or to make, like you say, a hit record. This new one, Tony and I live in Florida. We write songs down there. We had like 15 to 20 songs on the board, and then Sully and Robbie came down and had a good 10 songs, that they contributed. We narrowed all that down to, say, 11 songs, I think, at the end of the day, and then went back to Boston to our headquarters up there, flew in Dave Fortman, started pre-production. Boom, we got along better than we have in 15 years as a band. There wasn't any pressure on us. We actually spent the money out of our own pockets, and around Boston, we built our own Godsmack headquarters, which is a storage facility for all our gear from the past, also a big rehearsal room, and also a recording studio. So unlike the last couple of records that we had to fly to a studio in Los Angeles or, go to Hawaii, and we went to Miami, and we're flying around, this time we could kind of capture the vibe of how it was in the beginning when we were playing the clubs in front of no one. And our theme this time was just high energy, high octane. Take it back to the AC/DC and the Ramones. There's big 4-chord choruses going on with lots of melody, but high energy 16th notes on the ride and hi-hat, 4 on the floor drum beats, which I've never been able to really do in this band. Trying just to keep the rawness and the spirit of the band when it first started, that kind of punk rock vibe.
You guys have been afforded, through your guys' own hard work, tons of different hits throughout the years. You talk about bands with staying power. Like, say this would be your last album. You guys have plenty of hits to go out and tour for the next 30, 40 years, still be able to sell out places. Do you guys see Godsmack, or do you yourself see Godsmack around another 20 years?
Yeah, we always talk about this as we get older. Like, do we have heritage hits that we could be a county fair band probably and make money for the rest of our life? Yes. But is that the way, the path we choose? No. The way we look at it, we talk about maybe not even getting back together after the last tour of the Oracle. We toured for a year and a half, and we were even sick of each other's faces. We're riding in 4 dudes riding in a bus in this bubble together. So at the end of that, we took a whole year off from each other. There was talk of maybe not getting back together if it didn't go well. So luckily, when we got together in Florida, the ideas just flowed really easily, and it wasn't any pressure. Everything just kind of came out. And so we said, you know what? We're going to do this one record at a time. We're going to make this record, and we're going to tour on it. And if we feel that we're on stage with all these younger bands playing with us, we feel that we're still competing. I know it's not a competition, but I say competing because we don't want to look like a bunch of old farts up on stage with all these young bands with twice as much energy coming up and making us look old or something. So we all talked about it, honestly, sat down, looked at each other and talked about it. And look, we're going to keep on going as long as we feel like we feel right now, which we feel we're on the top of our game. We don't feel old on the stage. We don't look at the OB bands and think they're blowing us away. We still feel we hold our own. And as long as we do that, we're going to keep making records. When we get to the point where we're looking at each other going, all right, we're not at the level we used to be, then we will break up and we will never be that band that stays around and just sucks the life out of all the accomplishments we've made just from money or whatever,
I've seen you guys about 4 times now over your career, and I would have loved to see a lot more. But you guys always have such a strong show, and it packs just such a powerful punch to it that you would expect from Godsmack. I think that's why a lot of people love seeing you guys so live, is just the energy that you guys bring. Now, one thing I am glad to see return, though, is possibly the drum battle between you and Sully. Is that going to happen?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, we love that part. That's our favorite part of the set. Each time we tweak it a little bit, but it's kind of become like a song, for us, and I think they know it now. They kind of look forward to that moment, and it's like another hit song or something that they I can't wait till they play that, And so, yeah, this time, man, I'm telling you, we have a great show. We're bringing out all the bells and whistles again. We're going to, blow off bombs and fire and all that stuff. And we're playing a lot of big songs, and, we understand. We're like I said, we're not young bucks, and we understand that, you don't want to be that band that plays all new songs and everybody's like, why didn't they play this or that? Or they're getting bored because they, not everybody's going to have our new record at that point. So we didn't go so heavy on it, but been lucky enough to have hits on the radio previously in the last, 15 years, is that we have enough songs that are familiar that we can throw a good number of new songs in and not bore the crowd, because, musicians, we love to play the new stuff. That's what keeps each tour fresh. One other key, I think, to longevity has been that, we don't rush records out. And, some people are, why does it take you 4 years to make a new record? Well, it doesn't take us 4 years. We tour our asses off for a year and a half to 2 years sometimes. And then the 6 months to write, it usually only gives us like a year or 3 months off. And, we all have family and kids, but it also re-energizes us and like recharges our battery per se to go out there and make a real energetic, high energy show. And I'm telling you, man, you're all gonna be happy tomorrow. It's a great show, every band. But we've honed our set now after a few weeks out here on the tour, and changed the order around several times already to try and bring the most punch to each song, and also to make sure that everybody gets something worth.
Oh man, we are pumped for this show. Sioux City is ready to rock tomorrow. Cannot wait for it. Huge pleasure to talk with you. It's Shannon Larkin. He's the drummer of Godsmack, and you can check him out playing live with his band tomorrow night at the Uproar Festival, Tyson Event Center. You can still get your tickets through all Ticketmaster outlets or down there at the Tyson Event Center box office. Cannot wait for the show, man. We're excited to see you guys. Thanks for taking some time and chatting with us today.
Thanks for having me on, man. Look forward to seeing Rock in Sioux City, and hashtag 1,000 horsepower, baby. Let's light it up.
There you go. It's Shannon Larkin, drummer of Godsmack on the Z98 Morning Adjustment.